in game number 5. So which one holds more weight to you, Blaze?
You know, if I had to pick one, I gotta go down taking down E United, the defending champions.
I would too.
I just think that that squad right there is always gonna push you to the best, to your limits, more times than not. So wins against those will show you that you're doing the right thing, because those guys never want to lose. Everything else could be matchup based. You got some consistent, talented teams out there, but it could be any given Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got to show up to play.
All right, well, let's see who did show up to play, at least for Fearzly off the rip. 2 eliminations to his name, an M-bar in hand. VQ's getting those early points, though, and we typically see that. The team who normally wins the M-bar at the rib is not the team who gets the first points from the first hill, right? And for VQ, they don't win the M-bar, but they do win the first hill, and they will be prioritizing those points. But for Fearzly, it's not like he's getting out for free. He is having to fight tooth and nail, but a great opportunity presents itself to take down Hndles, and he will do so. Things are going to start heating up from this point forward, and I'm curious to see who will be the first one on that fresh hill. You look at the mini-map, it's going to be Fire and Ice for now.
I just want to say that as we were watching a 1v1 fight, VQ got majority of the time down low, but because Hndles brought his team so much time, that's why it happened, because as soon as Hndles died, Fearzly connected with 2. So it's just going to be a matter of time. Hndles falls any quicker, VQ may not have the lead in which they have. Now, as we transfer over here towards info, Hndles comes off, gets the double kill. So far his squad is looking good on this side of the map. But player 5's behind him, and they're going to know that it needs to make quick work of Acells. Sorry, not Acells, but Xplodiz now in the back portion of the map. They know that he's by himself. So once this kill is acquired, they got to put their attention on the hill as soon as possible.
Getting a little bit worried for FNI. The fact that they set up that early, you mentioned Hndles obviously winning that engagement on the last hill. And even though Fire and Ice is the first one to get on the fresh hill, VQ pretty dominantly just took over that hill. Like, there was no competition. Where was Fire and Ice's defense? Despite being set up early, it didn't matter. And I really hope that's not going to be a reoccurring trend as we rotate into the future hills for FNI.
We'll see if it is or not. Now, that power weapon will not be coming up for a little bit of time, about a minute on that one. And then with the power weapon coming up, actually, it's up now. All the weapons are up. You got the M-bar, you got the nades. Now, Fire and Ice, they have to put them to good use. There you go. They connect with 1, connect with 2. As the third player in his sights brings out the shotgun. And what a slew of kills here, spree of kills for Dyslexic. His team needed that.
Yeah, they definitely needed it. Now, not the most points that they're profiting. And also, VQ is going to be spawning a little bit closer to that rotation. Now, a benefit could be Dyslexic being the last one at the hill for the scrap time. He could run a potential to maybe pick up some big eliminations. He's got the M-bar in hand, 3 more shots, turns around and connects on a precision. Now, he also has a line of sight onto Hndles. Does he connect? No, but he also exposes his backside now as he's going to be lancered out. Xysho's going to be up close. Great body shot. Does Dyslexic go for the elimination? He tries, but he doesn't connect. But in the meantime, while Fire and Ice is getting those points and they're doing a great job on the hill, Dyslexic was a large reason as to why VQ was slowed down. He did his part. He played his role. Now it's up to the rest of the FNI boys to do the same.
We'll see if they can hold off. Dyslexic has already came off respawn, and he is back in that same fight that he died in, holding back Xysho and Acells at that choke point. But the kills will get cleaned up on the hill, and Dyslexic will finally fall. And now VQ with about 36 points on the hill. It's always a little bit more than half when they're set up. So they're getting a lion's share of a lot of this time. And at this moment, Fire and Ice needs to make the decision. When do they want to retreat? Statue will be the next hill. Player 7 is already going to be set up. New M-bar should be spawning up momentarily. So he'll have that to his name. At this moment, VQ will collect on all the scrap time. And they're just going to take a scrappy team fight at the statue.
And it is going to be a scrappy fight. I think that's going to be kind of the word, right, for this matchup is just scrappy in general with both teams and kind of how they play. But when FNI does meet VQ head on, it seems as if they're doing quite all right, but the same could be said for VQ on the opposite end. Xysho picks up Fearzly and Xplodiz. What a play from him. Unfortunately, a bit of a misroll. Toti will take him down, and that was an important fight for Toti to take down Xysho because now he's got the fresh M-bar. And correct me if I'm wrong, Blaze, I think Fire and Ice is locked into taken the M-bar all 3 times so far.
They have every single M-bar that has came through the map. They have acquired each one, and they've been getting kills with each M-bar as well.
Oh!
But it's always a play like this. This time it came from Hndles with a beautiful nade in the back. He's going to be able to push back player number 3 and get his team in the hill. They will also get the M-bar. And as I was saying it, FNI, they're getting the M-bar kills, but it's not translating to the score because VQ are getting the counter kills.
And you said that about Rise, didn't you? Great shot for Acells. I mean, just pixel perfect, brother. Pixel perfect. FNI is going to have to step it up. They have now taken a tremendous deficit. VQ around the 150 point mark. Granted, a lot more points still to go, but I think the biggest thing you can take away from the beginning of this game as we now reach the halfway point is the fact that VQ off of every single hill has been doing such a great job at capitalizing on each fight. We do see some flash in the pan plays from Fire and Ice, but for the most part, consistency is the word that VQ is implementing correctly. And you love to see it if you're a VQ fan. That's something that I did expect. I went for Fire and Ice in the series, but make no mistake, the addition of Xysho has made VQ a very deadly team.
Yeah, it really has, man. And it's only up from here when it comes down to this squad. They haven't even became the best version of themselves yet. They're still so new. But you give them towards the mid-split playoffs, and you're going to really see this Vanquish squad evolve again.
Oh,
beautiful hold so far on this hill. I don't even know if they even lose a member in this fight.
They don't.
Just a beautiful hold from them.
Yeah, that shock on the left side. They threw it properly. They executed it well. They understood Fire and Ice was going to be hugging that right side. They end up throwing it to their left, VQ's left, and it ultimately downed them and got that additional damage for VQ to just clean them up.
At the perfect timing of the push, and that's how you use a shock grenade. Now, Acells will die with this M-bar out, and they will realize that. So Fearzly has 5 shots to his name with 40 points left on his hill.
My gosh, Xysho,
bro,
it's the second time. That's the second time he's done that.
He's stealing the cash from the register as well. You just robbed the bank. We saw it.
Somebody stop the man.
Got their pockets.
Trip him.
Man.
Xysho is just, I mean, really though, Blaze, what an excellent addition to this roster. And I was hearing actually from one of the guys who's influential with this team, just how well Xysho has been recepted with these guys, and just how much they get along together, right? And Xysho was a pretty vocal leader on Noble, and I assume he's a very vocal leader on VQ as well. And again, he just brings a different look to VQ, and you said it best, Blaze. They have such a high ceiling, and they really do. This isn't even, I don't think, 75% of what we're going to be seeing from VQ, just even in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely up from here for them. Now, the boys of Fire and Ice, they need to get back into the series, but they can't get the kills that they need to be able to hold these hills. They're not winning these first team fights on the hills to be able to get control and set up for that second team fight the way that Vanquish has been able to. Hndles came out with a lot of big double kills as of late, as well as Xysho. Acells connecting with that M-bar. And they're making this as difficult as possible on Fire and Ice to gain any control whatsoever. But you will see players 8 and 6 rotate out as if they're going for power weapons because there's 46 seconds left on a hill. They're actually going to double back and fortify around it. Xysho, I think he's waiting for nades. That smoke grenade is going to be able to help him out as well, as nades are going to spawn up in 29 seconds, as well as shock. That M-bar has about, I believe, 15 seconds left on it.
No, M-bar's picked up. M-bar is picked up by Acells, so he's going to have that.
Okay, no, you're right. Yeah, he just got it.
He just
that
got
was 115.
And that's huge for VQ, because remember at the early rounds, they weren't getting it. Now that they do get it, I mean, it's only going to make them better. Big fight, though. Precision drops. Acells and Hndles still alive, and Acells is the one who's going to be having that fresh M-bar. Now, the comeback, Blaze, it's still possible for Fire and Ice. They've held VQ at 222 points. The last couple of hills have been great for FNI. It seems as if they're starting to wake up, and the team fights are going their way more often than not. But Fearzly does have that shock. It's got to be thrown out. You got to use that well. The frag is also thrown out from Acells, but Fire and Ice is set up quite well inside this hill. But Acells is going to be the difference maker. If he can connect onto one, VQ is going for the penetration.
Man, Toti was in a scary spot there, and Acells realized that. That's why he was careful about peeking up. connects with the headshot. Toti goes down, 4v2 on the map. Fearzly gets 2. Is he stopped? He will not be. And this hill continues to be acquired. Just points collected by Fire and Ice. They still have control. And that was huge from him.
And this is a huge moment for Fire and Ice to finally take a big stab at coming back in this round. There's enough points remaining here that if they can win this next team fight, as VQ is pushing in 3 strong, Fire and Ice can be set up quite nicely, and it looks as if they're going to handle it with ease. 30 points remains. Should put them around the 190 mark. VQ, they're not going to try and take another stab at that hill. There's just no reason to do so. Now, does Fire and Ice keep a player there for all of the time? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but this is a mistake, brother. They are giving up 20 points on that hill to focus on not only the M-bar, but also on the next hill. That is way too many points to be giving up.
15-second M-bar. And so now the M-bar will get acquired. It is 1 member left of VQ towards the back portion of the hill. And I want to say their teammates will spawn behind them. But the beauty is that this is all scrap time at the bottom. So they've already rotated 1 fight. They've lost fights, but they've already gotten 4 players back up before the hill has shifted. And it just comes down to just leaving that scrap time on the bottom portion of the map so you can be where you need to for the next fight. Now, kills being traded off from both sides, 3v3. But with Xysho going down, it's up to Acells to get a kill for VQ. And that team fight is won for Fire and Ice. And currently, they're about to have the lead in a second unless VQ can get back into position quickly.
Blaze, that win was critical and absolutely huge for Fire and Ice. And let me explain why again. You say they gave up the scrap time. They gave up 20 seconds from that last hill. That is a large amount of points. Now, why did they do that? Because they wanted to fight for the M-bar. They lose the fight for M-bar, fair enough, but they win the fight for the fresh hill. So those 20 points could have been great because they would have been at the 190 mark. They already would have been overtaking VQ, but they win the big team fight to hold on to the fresh hill. Second fight, second wave of VQ members are here. If Fire and Ice wins this, VQ's in trouble.
Yeah, these 2 members of VQ surviving that Lancer fire from afar, that worked out perfectly for them because Fearzly was lighting them up in the back, but they stayed cool. They waited for help, and now they're going to be able to get the 20 seconds off this hill, and that's the big 20 seconds that they need because they want to keep this lead just building up. When it comes down to power weapons, Naze just got picked up by somebody, and that new M-bar isn't coming up for about 20 seconds or so, but it's still close. Now, VQ needs to decide, when do they want to fight for it? When do they want to get it? But it looks like they're going to be just trying to chase down these players of F&I.
Definitely going to be chasing, but are they going to be able to catch anything? That's the question. Fire and Ice, their rotations have been crisp. They have been on point. That shock helps. You got to capitalize, though. You got to take down Acells. The nades are going to be thrown. Doesn't connect on anybody. Well, Toti's out of the way. Second one's in. Or excuse me, the shock is, or the stun was in. Fearzly now holding his ground. I think that's a second down for Acells, if I'm not mistaken. The next frag is going to miss. And the nade does come up short.
From Xysho. But his team is going to win this fight, and that's all that matters in the end as the last kill is picked up. About 80 points, 50-something points remaining on his hill. This will definitely be a win by VQ if they can hold it all. F&I needs to contest for about 2 or 3 seconds if they want to play for next and just try to have this perfect game. Also, taking into account this next hill goes up top towards Statue, so that's going to be one of those scrappier neutral hills. We'll see if F&I can do it. They need to start here.
All right, this is going to be just such a massive dash. Fire and Ice needs to win this fight. There's no other choice, or else VQ is taking this round. They're just mere points away. Great eliminations will come in. Hndles is also going to be dropped. Xysho forced to rotate out. The M-bar now goes to the hands of Fearzly, who immediately starts aiming down sights to find his next victim. 20 seconds remain here. Fearzly, a little bit of bait and switch around that cover, and dodges precision and is able to re-engage with the M-bar. This next hill is going to be huge for Fire and Ice. It's going to either make them or break them, bottom line, period. They're not going to win off of this hill, but they have a very real chance of setting themselves up nicely. But that collapse, those elims from VQ were devastating. Fire and Ice, by the time they get challenged by VQ, VQ is going to be around the 290 plus mark.
There's so many superstars on his team. I feel like Precision kind of getting overshadowed a little bit, but in his late game, man, he can definitely turn up and just really lock it in for his team like he has been. Like he hasn't been the main slayer on his Vanquish squad since he's, really kind of came into the Esports a year or two ago. But he's trapped in a corner. Nice L triggers from him. His squad just needs ace points to win, and they're focused primarily on just getting kills. Nice usage of the meat shield to dodge the nade. Hndles stays alive, and they're in position to contest this heal. It's a 4v3 with that kill on Hndles. They know it now, and they're just trying to go wide, take the fight on Xplodiz, put as many shots on him as he can, but beautiful blind fire to take one to the grave. His teammates are still there. Still 3 members of Fire and Ice in this area of the map. They can't win off this hill either.
They can't. Oh my goodness. Fire and Ice might very well be at the 290 mark, right alongside that of VQ plays. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be insane. Dyslexic has the shock for the next hill. And VQ, they're not challenging for this hill. They know this is not where we win. It's going to come down to one epic team fight to decide it all.
Oh boy. Yeah, they left the M-bar in the scrap time. The M-bar just spawned. It was at the exact same time as the scrap time on the hill. But if F&I spends too much time on that, VQ gets the 8 seconds that they need.
It's the shock, brother.
It's going to be a 2v2 fight for the win.
The shock's on the right. Precision should be hit by that if I'm not mistaken, but he's actually going to be unscathed. This is going to be a massive battle. No, Precision is going to fall. Hndles needs to stay on his own 2 feet. Is he going to be able to stay up in this moment? He's just trying to use as much coverage as he can. Oh. He's going to drop. Fire and Ice gets 3 down, and Fire and Ice could win off this hill blaze.
Oh, boy. Now it's a dash to the hill. Precision goes down. Acells looking for the revive. 10 seconds on the clock. The fire from the Lancer fire from F&I. They made the comeback possible. Wow, what a performance here in the late game from them. VQ, they just had to win one team for one 2v2 fight. That's what it came down to, a 2v2 fight at Fountains for the win. Hndles and Precision couldn't get it done.
And that shock didn't even impact anything. I think he threw it a bit too long, if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't see it at all. I didn't see it at all.
It was a deep shock. I didn't see it at all. It was a non-factor.
I mean, that could have been disastrous. That could have been disaster, Blaze.
But in the end, man, F&I, they played a perfect map here towards the late game, and VQ just could not get those final few points that they needed. And Taylor, we have seen so many exciting control regencies that it's wild.
Well, you know what? It's picked every time, so it's going to continue to be just as exciting as teams lock it in. I don't care what side of the fence you are on, right? If it's Latin America, if it's North America, if you're going for VQ, you're going for F&I. That was just some solid gears, Blaze. That was just some solid, close gears, really representing what control is all about. Phenomenal work, though, from Fire and Ice to come back, because for a large majority of time, Blaze, VQ was dominating this map.
They really was, and you're gonna see this at the replays. If you guys just pay attention to the top left-hand corner of the screen, you should see the massive lead in which VQ is going to be holding, as they just had control throughout the entirety of the map. And to these later portions where F&I, honestly, it was this hill right here towards, it's not this one, but later on towards the replay when we got towards the statue hill, I think it was on rotation 2 or 3. I think this where Fire and Ice really got their mojo back, and they were able to just win some big fights to put themselves in some better positions.
You know, one thing that I do want to highlight from Fire and Ice plays that I really appreciated seeing, because one of the things I didn't say heading into this map was, if there's ever a map that Fire and Ice struggles on in control specifically, it's Regency. And the reason why is because it doesn't really play or cater to their play style. And what is that play style that I'm alluding to? Strong fights, strong initials, and more importantly, like those close quarter fights. Fire and Ice loves chaos. You know, that's kind of how they've always, that's how they've always been. Wolfpack, what did you always say, man? Wolfpack, like specialist, or Wolfpack, like whatever they are, Wolfpack team. But you know, that's their playstyle. That's what they like. Regency is a little bit more open, and I feel doesn't cater to the playstyle that they're comfortable with. But one way that they kind of, you know, counteracted that and battled against that is they were setting up and rotating earlier on. I was very critical, like 3 or 4 hills in the past, about them giving up the 20 points, because I'm like, that's a tremendous amount of points to give up. However, they understood that yes, we're giving up 20 points with the potential to gain 40 to 50 points if we lock in the M-bar and if we get set up for the next hill. And now they didn't get 40 or 50 points, but they did get at least 30 or so. So a net positive, in my opinion. they were rotating more efficiently than that of VQ. VQ in the beginning matches or in the beginning Hills plays was doing a great job prioritizing the rotations, prioritizing the spawns, getting, maybe they weren't getting the power weapons like the M-bar, the frags, but they were on the Hills earlier. They were setting up defensively. But towards the later portion, Fire and I started valuing the rotations and defensive setup more, and therefore you can see the effect it had by them getting the narrow victory.
When they were able to get an even team fight there to contest early for those Hills because of that early rotation, F&I had more success. In some of the early portions of the match, they just played more into VQ's hand there, as VQ, even though they didn't have the M-bar control, they had the rotations early for the heal. And Fire and Ice were connecting with these M-bar, with the M-bars and making plays. But when you saw counter plays from Xysho and Hndles, double kills that came through that nullified those M-bar plays that was getting made. So VQ just kept hacking on to that lead little by little until F&I, man, it just rotations was priority first. They got to those Hills early. They won the battles. They ultimately make the comeback at the end. Now we're about to head on over towards Tomb Execution. And I'm curious to see, how does VQ bounce back from a loss like that?
I think they'll be all right. Xysho, like you said, I think they've gained a lot more variety with Xysho being on this roster. I expect him to be a very vocal figure to say it's all right. Let's go into execution. We've won this before. Yeah, we lose map 1, but we know we can win execution because we've won on this very map just last Thursday. And I think they know their slaying power is there. That beginning game for VQ Blaze, their slaying power was on point. Xysho picking up so many 2 pieces, 3 pieces, right? That's going to be incredibly valuable if he can continue to hit straight as he was doing on Control Regency. If he can apply that to execution, VQ is going to be just fine.
Yeah, that'd be just fine if he can do that. But, if not, then you got Precision, you got Acells, you got Hndles. All those guys can step up in a moment when they need to win these 1v1 fights. Now, we come on over towards Tomb. It's going to be a 1v1 at Snipe with the Shock, 1v1 center map, and more of a 2v2 down low for the Torque Bow is kind of the standard in which we've been seeing for this map breakout. And we'll see, most importantly, who can kind of win that 2v2 engagement down low at Bow, because I think that's where the first blood is going to get spilled.
Yeah, that 2v2 fight has became really important. I think at the beginning, when we were really kind of, seeing Tomb for the first time with Execution 2.0, I believe during one of the E-Day tournaments, we put a lot of emphasis on that fight for the Shock and then the fight for the long shot. And I think rightly so, that still has a lot of presence. But now that the teams are kind of prioritizing more that 2v2 fight for the Torque Bow, we have to focus on that, because now you have the potential to lose 2 of your teammates. It's half your team. It's a 4v4. You can't afford to go down 2 teammates. It's bad enough losing one off the rip, but then also losing the Torque Bow and giving it to the other team could have devastating results. That is the most important fight. That's where you need to send your most dominant duos, your most dominant slayers, because you lose that fight, you're going to be in bad shape.
At the end, I'm worried more about Fire and Ice players in 1v1 positions, because they fight them with a little bit more confidence, but you also got to keep your eye on them. If you let one go, it's a possibility that a flank's happening on your teammate, that these guys are up to something. So you have to really just kind of value them more in their 1v1 positions. In the end, it's going to be a team effort. If you want to be too aggressive in your 1v1 spots, it just takes, just one call out to say, hey, can I get a little extra Lancer Fire in the beginning of the match to get some damage on this guy? Next thing you know, the advantage has been flipped.
Hey, help a buddy out. Get that extra Lancer Fire. It can pay dividends. Oh, Dyslexic and Precision were in just a blood feud, a blood battle. And naturally, Precision wins that, immediately connects on to Toti, who, by the way, was by his teammate. Luckily for Fearzly, he stays up in an opportunity, and he takes it, picks up 1, but immediately Precision claps on the 2nd. Last alive is going to be Xplodiz. Tough spot, almost an impossible spot, but at least almost gets the kill onto Hndles. That would have been great to bring it to a 1v2, but ultimately, VQ said enough is enough. They're going to use the numbers to their advantage. They collapse on either side of them. 46 seconds, great win. Dyslexic needs to find a way to beat Precision, because it seems as if that's going to be a 1v1 over in that spot, not a 2v2.
Yeah, and we'll see how long it stays the 1v1. We'll see if anything changes off this initial, but I definitely agree with you. That 1v1 Precision took over, but players 2 and 6 are just going to put most of their numbers towards mid-map and kind of take their engagement over there. So you're right. More 1v1s engaged. No 2v2 fight over here at the Torque Bow. But both players in that fight will use their flashes. Acells uses his, and now you see he's thinking about his teammate. He's eyeing Dyslexic. He's like, okay, well, I'm done with Toti. Which one of my teammates can I help? Fearzly gets picked on, and Fearzly, who's his guy, is player 8. He's trying to get the angle. His Hndles, he needs to be able to get on Fearzly a little bit quicker than that.
Even so, all 4 players still alive now. You got Precision, Precision, and oh, there's going to be a rotation down. Fire and Ice going to send an additional man. Precision's going to take down Dyslexic and take down Toti. And if you're going to send an additional man down low to challenge 1, you better make it count. And unfortunately for Fire and Ice, they don't. And then Acells is going to pick up the last 2. So 2 players from VQ take out all 4 members from Fire and Ice. VQ leads 2-0.
Yeah, that was a crispy 1v2 there from Precision. Over there for the twerk bow. I agree with you, Taylor. You have to be able to win that fight. They had a right hand advantage as well, but Precision, he just held his ground. He knew it was no running away. He wasn't taking no shots in his back end. He just hit the shots straight ahead on his opponents. Good clutch from him. We'll see if any adjustments change in the strategies, but Iron Eyes got 3 players stacked up towards the center of the map. Player 7 recognizes that he's getting a sniper for free.
And that sniper will be put to use immediately. Xysho will take down Xplodiz. Xysho's not going to slow down. You have to think. Finally, though, Precision will fall. You got to deal with them. Torquebo should go into the hands of FNI, but it's going to be a 1v2. Dyslexic is by himself, and he can't even find an opportunity to get the Torquebo in his hands. And now you're going against a long shot, and Dyslexic is toying with him. He wants that first shot. I don't even think Dyslexic wants it.
Nah, he's just trying to get him to shoot, see if he can miss. That Torquebo is going to be out of play. I don't know if it was on the ground or something, but using his flash is trying to change position. His movement is making his opponents juke, but you go back and you talk about the strategy from Fire and Ice in that round. They sent 3 players towards center. Xysho called it out to his teammates, and once he got the snipe, he got a kill, got some body shots, and him and Hndles, being the 2 players at the top portion of the map, just worked their way down. As their teammates were just kind of fighting for their lives. The Acells and Precision, they were stuck in the fight. And I did believe that they took one of them to the grave. I think Precision got a kill, but well played from them. Now you're just playing for this hill at this point. I think player 7 is going to be in it.
So Hndles does get that Torquebo. Dyslexic fought hard for... No way, it's brought down to a 1v1. Oh, and the body shot! Dyslexic has an opportunity, but luckily Xysho, after the body shot, knows this is my moment, this is my time. And Xysho, the new addition, the well-added addition to VQ, will clutch that up. But Dyslexic made that pretty exciting, Blaze.
Yeah, but I don't know if he wins the 1v1 with Xysho having nades and snipe. He was able to get the 1v there, but just couldn't reset the fight. That's where you got to reset the fights. That's not a time to continue to bounce. That's when you sit in cover and say, okay, I got a 1v1 now. All right, what do let me get into a better position. Now we head here into round number 4. This time Precision, he recognizes that he's at a disadvantage, so he backs out right away. They have to give him the Torquebo, and on Flippy, Fearzly finds a kill on middle. Xysho quick pick the snipe. We'll see if he can find a headshot somewhere, but currently it's F&I with an advantage.
They know Xysho's going to be the guy you want to take down, but not connecting on anybody just yet, just missing the ankle. Instead playing for the nades. Can Toti finally connect? Again, Xysho's the opposite of him. So this is going to be Xysho wanting to take Toti, Toti wanting to take down Xysho, get the power weapon out of the way. And Toti only has 2 more bolts remaining. And every time he pokes his head up, Xysho is chomping at the bit to blow it off.
Yeah, and this is going to be... If this heal is going to end up top, it's going to be a wild ending. The nades won't be a factor, but we do see some players shifting down low. I love how player 5 is going wide to try to get his team a better angle so they don't get crossed. But now the fights are looking a little bit easier for Fire and Ice as they recognize where the 2v1 was, but Xysho gets the headshot his squad needed to make it a 3v3.
And it is going to be a 3v3. I don't think... Has Toti sent a bolt flying? I don't think he has. Still should have 2 bolts remaining. And you mentioned that hill. Depending on where it's going to be set up at, it could absolutely be chaotic. Frag's going to be picked up by Xplodiz. Fire and Ice got a lot of work with. A lot to work with. Now, Toti, no more Torquebo. You have to assume anyways. Oh, great push from Acells, and Acells will make that happen. Xysho also connects, and Xplodiz is by himself in a 1v3.
2 nades to his name. They go a little bit too deep. Can't get any of the kills. That one on the ground could pay dividends, but VQ, they spread out right away. They says, yeah, we're not going to get fooled by that one.
You know, one of the things that I knew was that, at least for me personally, Blaze, that I knew was going to improve with VQ and potentially hurt Fire and Ice, and this is what I was having a discussion with that one member of VQ that I was talking about earlier, is VQ, in my opinion, has much better teamwork, and the addition of Xysho again makes them even stronger. And I think VQ has more tricks in their bag of tricks personally than that of Fire and Ice. Therefore, it makes them more flexible in multiple situations, and the longer the rounds go, the stronger I feel VQ gets and the weaker Fire and Ice gets. Fire and Ice is a team that wants to end the rounds early. The longer they go, the stronger VQ is going to get it. Bottom line, period. I mean, but this execution hasn't even been close. This is going to be a worse loss, a worse beatdown than even it was on E-Day 6-3.
Yeah, it really is. They're looking to make this one 6-0. And because VQ, I know they're beating themselves up about blowing that just 8-point. Well, they hit a huge lead. I don't know what it was. Probably about a 150-point lead at some point during that control, but they lost it by 8 points. And I know they're beating themselves up about that one. And we're kind of seeing that frustration in this execution team as they get this one round away from having the series all tied up 1-1. And then we're going over, I think, to one of their favorite training ground maps. We're going over to Vasgar, one that they're going to be very good at. And so, VQ, they're looking like they're about to get control back of the series, but we still got a lot more games to be played here.
Oh, a lot more in this series, right? This is only going to be map number 2. And they're going to be tied up 1-1. But I mean, for Fire and Ice, though, I think the big thing is they got one. They at least got one in this in the first 3 maps, and the potential for them to lose, I think, in a 3-0 fashion could have been there, especially with the way VQ is playing this execution. Who knows? But maybe we get a little bit more execution if Toti can make something happen. The pressure is real. He's getting lancered. Teammate is on the opposite end of the map. Oh, he gets the trade. It's a 1v1.
That was a beautiful shot. And then his teammate has scope. Fearzly is going to rotate up top and make sure he can get the frag grenades, and he'll get whatever other power weapon he wants just so that he'll be ready for this last fight. Wherever this last hill is going to be. Yeah, I will just mark precision, pick up the nades, and go from there. But he's just going to keep the snipe in hand. Nice effort.
All right, Fearzly does get those nades. This is his round to take. First nade. Oh,
he goes in.
Weird. First precision is going to be weak, though. Oh, no way he loses. Oh! Yo, no way he loses that. Are you kidding me? 6-0 victory, man.
Botched.
Talk about a botched ending for Fearzly. Precision says, hey, enough is enough. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll break down this execution 6-0, or at least what we can break down, and then we'll be heading into Escalation on Vasgar. Welcome back to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 3. Taylor Reflections Noble, that's Guy Blaze, and we're heading into Game 3, Escalation on Vasgar.
All right, it's the boys, Fire and Ice versus Vanquish, and we hop right into this one, folks. You love to see it here as we're all tied up 1-1. If you just joined us, map number 1 control was a nail biter. Fire and Ice winning 300 to 292. It was crazy, but the 6-0 victory from VQ on Toon may have been even more impressive. But as we're here on Vasgar, we know both these squads know how to play, and just that quickly, you got a trip cap domination for Vanquish already coming through. I don't know if Dyslexic can do anything about it.
Well, dang. I mean, come on, man. Fire and Ice. I know you can put up a better fight than that. I mean, it is Vasgar. You're a great Vasgar team. Dyslexic, pop off. 1 cap. But no death or no kills. I don't think did Fire and Ice even get a kill? I don't know. But regardless, though, Blaze, no kills across the board. Not the start you need. When you have more deaths than kills, you know you're in trouble. But hey, Blaze, they played each other on Escalation Vasgar whenever it came down to Emergence days. We'll be kind of referencing that. And I believe it ended in the way of 5-2. 5-3. No, yeah, 5-2. Vanquish was able to get the victory 5-2. And that's a pretty dominant victory. And I remember watching them play, and I was thinking to myself, Fire and Ice looks really bad on Escalation. And you would be, for me, I was very surprised because, again, Vasgar is a great map for FNI. But for VQ, they're not a historically bad VQ team. Actually, they're a great historical Vasgar team. So maybe it does make sense. But regardless, so it needs to be a lot closer.
Yeah, it definitely does, B. It definitely does. Now, currently in this round, as you see, VQ, they came off respawn. They put most of their focus on B, but Fire and Ice, with that powerful 2-2 strategy, they sent 2 players up top towards A. Will lead out to 2v1. I think it was the Acells that they were able to get down, and from there, and them getting the hill captured, they just shifted towards the defensive squad, and VQ has not been able to get their home hill back. So these players at the tank are starting to get a little bit desperate here, knowing that they need to win a fight for the team. Acells with a height advantage, 1v2, trying to at least take one down, but he cannot. And I think this is going to be an FNI round.
And this is an important round for them, losing the way that they did on Execution, 6-0. You also lost round number 1 in a very dominant fashion. You didn't pick up an elimination at all team-wise. So to win round 2 in the way that they just did, in the way of domination, slowly but surely starts to say, okay, we still are the Fire and Ice boys that we need to be. We can do this. If we can win this and lead 2-1 in the series, we're going to be feeling, a lot better heading into the next control, which will be on Reactor, which who knows how that one's going to go. But again, that round was very important for FNI, in my opinion, for their mentality.
No, it really was important for them because after losing round number 1 in the fashion which they did, they had to respond back as soon as possible and then let VQ know that, okay, yeah, anything that you could do, we could do better as well. We could match that same energy. So both squads know that this Vasgar is going to be tough, back and forth. Now, VQ running the similar strategy of Fire and Ice the last round, that 2-2 strategy on their bad side, just trying to take their numbers. Their opponent with a 3-1 down low towards B. They waste no time picking up that kill on precision. Player 7, Xysho, trying to run away. He actually gets himself a 1v1 fight, so he'll be able to slow it down a bit as his teammates are getting kills across map at A. Xysho knows they can go back on offensive.
So looking at the mini-map, maybe you favor VQ with how they're kind of spread out, especially if they can pick up this Lexic here. That's going to bring it or make it pretty awkward for Xplodiz. Granted, off the respawn, though, is going to be Fire and Ice, but they're going to have to fight tooth and nail for this hill because VQ is looking to hold it down, but that fight goes very well for them. Toti now in a fight himself at a 1v. This is potentially for Bravo. Toti, unfortunately, will not win that. VQ takes it for himself, and Xysho will be able to lock in B, at least for the time being. And a sneaky man for Xplodiz. Oh, no! Hit the shot! No! You gotta hit those shots if you're gonna play in that fashion. You can't do that.
You need to. Those are big time kills that can come through for your team. In the end, you will see a player from Fire and Ice crawling on over, getting a capture at the C hill. He was able to cap before he died, so we'll see if this one comes down towards like 1 or 2 point difference. You can look back at that play, that extra effort to get a capture on C. But the trip cap domination is here. Nice stoppage from Xplodiz, but he needs to win the 1v1. He goes down. Now he has all the help in the world to be able to get his home hill back. That got scary for Fire and Ice, but in the end, VQ, they are thriving. Well, as I say that, Hndles went down, and now he just needs to survive.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to survive. I mean, they do have the lead. It's going to take some time before Fire and Ice gets that advantage back in their hands. But going back to what Xplodiz did, it just, Ryan is ringing in my ears of what he said. The hardest shot in gears to hit is the one where your opponent is not looking at you. And that was a great example. There was just too much to choose from, and Xplodiz lost his mind, and they ended up missing the shots and dying. It is what it is. Still, though, for Fire and Ice with the 2-1, they do have the win condition. They got to cover these points so they can be in a better spot. This is going to be a big battle for A.
All right, currently matched up 3v3, and it's a 1v1 for the C hill. Vanquish only has 1 hill to their name. This is going to break out into one last team fight. Whoever wins this team fight should win the round. And with flashes coming out, VQ will engage first. Hndles won his battle on the other side, so he's going to flank C. But as he's winning his battle, FNI, they're getting the downs. They're winning the engagements. One player slipped behind Toti. He just knew that he had to extend the round for his team, that he could not go down. And so he slipped under and ran towards the B hill. That's a big play for him.
And this is a great moment for VQ because if you're looking at that fight, it seemed as if Fire and Ice was going to be able to win it. They were hitting some amazing shots, but through the team revives, or the chain revives, I should say, Fire and Ice loses that fight. VQ takes it, but is it all lost? Toti trying to go big. Precision will take him down, and one hill is going to be enough for VQ, but there's still time. I do believe Fire and Ice might still be able to win this. They got to do everything right, though.
No, they can't, because now VQ they're going to keep taking 2v1s. Fire and Ice have to win a 1v2 to win a round, and it's not coming through in time. And they had the option with Toti there. He was just a few pellets away. In the end, VQ will survive that round, and both squads so far trading out their bad side, right? And so they traded out their bad side these last 2 rounds, but rounds 4 and 5 is a good side for the Swarm team. So we'll see if VQ can do anything with that slight advantage that you get on top of your home hill, but we'll see.
All right, still close though. An opportunity to tie up the first half is here. Fire and Ice just got to work a little bit harder because that last round was pretty close. There was a decisive fight on Xplodiz. Fire and Ice, if they win that Arrivals fight, I think they win that they win that round and they lead 2-1, but obviously losing because VQ, the great chain revives, made all the difference. Now we got a focal point, though. Not only are we fighting for the neutral of B, take fight is always going to be there, regardless if it's going to be on B or later on just to the right where the next hill is going to be in the second half. But that long shot is going to be so huge for either roster.
Yeah, it really is. Now, let's see who can pick that one up. We know what F&I can do with it. Now, currently, that's not the big play. Oh, that's a double down. They're going to block each other from the hill. I think 8's like, you can't crawl past me. But now over here down low towards B, F&I says, hey, we'll see if we can initiate this first. But that was a beautiful flash from Xysho. Can't really hit his second shot. His teammate will clean up the kill, and VQ finds another. So B hill will go to them. They already got their home hill fortified. Now they just need to get set up on the map and get ready for that next team fight.
Yeah, definitely. Next team fight needs to be a little bit better than that team fight that we just witnessed on Tank. Xysho with the long shot. We've seen what he can do on execution. God forbid what he can do here in Escalation, where kills just like that through the smoke. And I don't even think Xplodiz was marked. Shit. Now Toti was marked, but it doesn't matter. Those shots were impressive either way. Can he get a third?
Oh, he gets the body shot. Yo, why you got me swearing on stream, Xysho? Chill out, dude.
I knew you back to act the fool at some point, Blaze. You've been very cautious all night, but I knew this match was going to bring it out of you.
But those 2 headshots through the smoke, man, that was gorgeous. But here we go. You see the Lancer firing the setup here from VQ. They will be able to get these 2 downs here. F&I have already rotated off down low towards the B hill. But VQ, they're not worried. They're going to keep 2 hills to their name, keep taking their advantages. And Fire and Ice are thinking the same thing. That's why they're putting so much pressure on Precision. He's doing a fantastic job planning his life in the 1v2. Just to be able to take 1 is everything his team can ask for. Nice
Fearzly do it this time. He can, yeah. Great shots, great movement, taking down Xysho. Now, the only problem for Fire and Ice, well, they got a lot of them, but I think at this point, is VQ has a very, very decent lead. And Fire and Ice knows, look, their only option is to get a domination here. Or keep a decap for as long as possible. But at that point, you might as well just go for a domination, right, if it gets to that moment. But every fight is critical. Xplodiz, Dyslexic falls. Xplodiz down low as well. He's going to have to fight tooth and nail to get back up. He's down. Acells handles his business. This round's over with. Quite honestly, I mean, I know VQ still has 2 more rounds to win after this, but Blaze, I just think it's over with. Fire and Ice is going to lose this escalation. We might as well send it to map 4, reactor control.
Oh, don't call it just yet, Taylor. Don't
maybe it works in my favor.
Yet.
Look who I
think VQ has all the momentum here, but where you lose against Fire and Ice is when you start underestimating them. VQ did that map number 1, okay? They were like, yeah, we got the lead. We're rotating early. They're not doing much with the power weapons. We're feeling good. They lose by 8 points, and they had to snap out of it. It says, you know what? We have to play down to the end. Every single map until we win this series. We saw a perfect performance on map number 2. We're 2 rounds away from seeing a damn near perfect performance on map number 3. We're going back to another control. I think it is going to be control reactor as well. So VQ has already gotten burned, and we not need to get burned as casters, writing F&I off too soon in this series, because that's when they get the most energy.
All right, well, we'll find out. We'll find out for sure. But the way VQ's been playing, Blaze, much as I want to hype up F&I, I'm just, VQ's on a different level, at least when it comes to execution and escalation. And execution, I hate to say it, is going to be game number 5. With the way that VQ played and won 6-0 on Tomb, if it goes to game 5, I think VQ is still going to be in a good position to take this series. But let me stop. Let me taper it off. Fire and Ice do have the 2-1.
If VQ takes this 5-1, I think Reactor comes out and they're going to really just try to shut their opponent out. They're going to try to keep them under 100 points. It's going to be bad, because that really just confirms to me the type of mindset they're in after losing that map number 1. And F&I has not been able to match their energy. Fire and Ice, they felt good after winning that map 1, but you know, can't, what's the best way to say it? You just really can't blow all your steam in map number 1, okay? You know, you have to be ready for map number 2 also. But they know they have that cushion, and at least they will see a map 4. But even knowing that, you don't want F9 to be complacent off just having that 1 map victory, and I don't think they are, but they're not fighting as hard as we saw them fight in that back half of that first map.
Yeah, and they're going to have to find that LATAM spirit, right? We kind of highlight that. We talk about that Latin American spirit, and with Fire and Ice being down, you think maybe this is where they're going to be loudest. Dream Conspiracy was, but this round's about to be over with. From the flank, they had a VQ member who was just able to just Lancer out. Man, I hate to say it, but VQ's up 4-1. And like I said, I don't think Fire and Ice is getting back into this escalation, Vasgar. It's pretty much over with.
Yeah, I don't know if they can, man. You know, I've seen F9 come back from a 4-1 deficit before on this map, but I don't know if this is going to be the series. You know, F9, the kills aren't falling for them. VQ is just playing with so much confidence. They're playing with so much anger, so much intensity. These fights, every fight that they get in falls in their direction, and it's kind of just snowballing, and it's snowballing the scoreline over these last 2 maps. When it comes down to rounds, VQ is 10-1 so far in these last 2 maps when it just comes to rounds, okay? Winning rounds, no matter the game mode.
Wait, we have a center line? Yo, I have been waiting for this moment, and I hate that it's coming with one team winning 4-1.
Wait,
we have an
got a center line.
We have an M-bar center line. This hasn't... now, I do want to say something, by the way. I think it was in a Spring Quarter Online Major, or maybe it wasn't. It was maybe a little bit further than that, but VQ... It was further than that, wasn't it? Where VQ had a weapon play center line, and they lost because it was so
Rise,
weird.
I want to say it was Rise in that matchup. It was Rise. I don't know if it was Rise in VQ or Rise in E United or something, but it was Rise that put it down there.
And it was just such a weird thing that VQ was like, what do I do with my hands? What do I do with my thumbs? I don't know. I mean, they lost. So the potential's there.
Potential's there, but it's not a common placement on this map. You know, usually that middle lane doesn't get as much traffic as it probably should. It's just a dangerous place to be. It's 4 ways in and 2 ways out. Technically, really, for real, it is. So you just don't want to get caught out there. But with a sniper and an M-bar on a map, it gives options. But curveballs like this so late into the game, you really see how can squads adapt and how many rounds are going to take VQ to be able to adapt to that. Oh boy, Toti with the back-to-back headshots on the ground. That cleans up those kills for his team, and that's going to get them that F hill. But we'll see how long they can keep it.
Yeah, but even so, like, great kills, but VQ still has the 2-1. They're gonna, I mean, they're still gonna get it because they're off of respawn. You got to take down Hndles. Luckily, the trade is there. Toti's gonna be, well, maybe not. Shoot, the Lancer fire is hurting. Great body shot at a precision. One dies out in the corner. That was Hndles. Toti chomping at the bit to take this player down. That's gonna be a good body shot. He goes in for the finish. Well done. Fire and Ice still trails behind about 20 or so points. And I'll take a quick look at the map, Blaze. I want to see when these next weapons are going to be coming up into play. Well, it's going to be, I believe, 1 second. So M-bar is going to be down in mid. 19 seconds. We'll have the long shot on tank. So M-bar is back in mid.
But these team fights is going in the way of VQ with those 2 kills coming through on their opponent's side of the map. Player 7, does he go get that M-bar? He knows the timing on it, but he's worried about the kills down low. That would have been a great time to pick it up, especially as you're rotating back to help your team out. But in the end, they're still able to work together to get these downs in the tank. These 2 members, it's not much they can do. VQ says, we'll just take the snipe and we'll worry about everything else right after, as the trip cap domination was threatened for a second. Doesn't come through. But hey, you know, I had to hold my breath for a second. I was like, are you going to do it?
Well, look, Hndles has the M-bars, Xysho has the lone shot, and he's just, he's just different. Like, he's been connecting. Give me another one. Give me a highlight reel. Xbox record that. Come on.
We're getting it. We're getting that highlight reel in this moment. Dominant performance.
Come on. Like, come on, Fire and Ice.
F&I is a squad that has not made roster changes.
I know. Okay. And I think that's a good thing. I do. But for what it's worth.
I said that to say that I feel like F&I is a very talented Vasgar squad, but just up against this VQ team, wasn't much they can do there in that moment, folks. Okay, this Vanquish roster is the real deal. You cannot count these boys out in anything. And I don't think anyone is counting them out. You just got to put a little bit more respect on their name, because they're going to keep getting better with Xysho, and they're going to take map number 3 5-1.
Yeah, even with the curveball, the M-bar thrown out there, doesn't even help, you know, which is surprising, because at the start, Fire and Ice was able to secure the M-bar and the long shot. They had both long-range weapons. On a map such as Vasgar, like, those long-range weapons, they hit hard, right? See what Xysho was doing earlier? Don't show that replay. Xplodiz, come on. You had 3 players to take down. You had
a double headshot through the smoke for me.
What's right here? Bop. Boop, bop. Down.
Oh, that's it.
Gone.
That's the one. That did
Off
it.
the map. Eliminated. You couldn't even do that back in your prime. Let me stop. Let me stop. Please, I humbly apologize, brother. I didn't mean to insult the GOAT. Okay.
You know, I just put a lot of hours scrimming and shooting bots. I wasted my teenage years practicing for this, Taylor. Okay.
Oh, you didn't waste anything.
Okay, I'm just saying. I wasted a lot of time. I didn't waste any time, by the way. Okay, but I lost my social life.
I hate that he said that, because Hndles has been popping off tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's like you guys just know. You know, it's like you guys have been watching Gears for almost a decade. You know what I'm saying?
I watched
more than
Hndles. Actually, it was Acells. Hndles and Acells this last week on Friday for Astro Battles 2v2. They did the unthinkable that we have never saw, and they 10-0'd TJ and Demise. And not even to put that out there for TJ and Demise, but I had never saw TJ and Demise have been so dominant in Astro Battles, where they're at least going to put up 5-6 rounds on a map, and to watch them get skunked. Well, yeah. Watch them get skunked the way that they did. We did not see that one happen. And boy, they got 10-0 by Hndles in Acells, man. It was not even nice. And the 1v2s that Acells was clutching up at the end were wild on mid, bro. Like, they earned a bag that weekend. So I'm not surprised that Hndles and Acells are playing the way that they have, because coming off that E-Day, they just kept on moving forward. They says, okay, we got this check. Let's go get this next check. Let's go win this tournament. Let's get ready for next week on Tuesday. And they have not stopped.
And they really haven't. You know, they really haven't. And you know what? They can't, because I think they have a little bit more to prove. Again, VQ, 3rd place, now playing, or 3rd place in the spring major. Now with Xysho, hey, I think they have a very real chance of doing a great job mid-split playoffs, having a great performance in the next major. We'll definitely see if they get to that point. They've been remaking the lobby, guys. I think this is the 5th attempt. Hopefully the 5th time is the charm. At least that's what I heard, or at least read off a fortune cookie. 5th time is a charm.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that boom shot swap, they can't get it in. Sorry, not the boom shot, but the drop shot swap. They can't get those frags on the map, man. That's weapon swaps. It's difficult, though. You know, it's nothing against our players. They do their best to get in the lobby as soon as possible and make things happen. But, you know, it really is a chore to get this map going.
And they're remaking, so hopefully we'll be getting it going shortly for you. And
we got the 6th remake happening.
Huh?
I say we got the 6th remake happening, so we're coming in hot with it. Actually, I think we're good.
Oh, are we going in?
We're solid. We're locked in.
Let's do it. Let's just go right in. No map fly through nothing. Let's just go straight into it. You love to see it. Hey, let's get it going, Blaze. It's going to be a big round or big map, I think, for VQ, obviously, to close the series out 3-1. Not even go with the hassle of going into a map number 5, which, again, VQ, I think will be quite all right. Precision, though, trying to bully out this Lexic with Xysho on the opposite end, and they will be successful. Xysho's going to pick up those frags. Fearzly picks up the shot, but Xplodiz got out early with that torque bow. Let's see what he can do with it in mid.
Oh, he knows he has to back up. I love the flash grenade being banked off that pillar. Great effort there from Acells. But now this torque bow is revving. Precision goes down. Xysho's tucked in a corner. That torque bow, he tried to get some splash damage off of it, but it's enough to force Xysho to have to move out this fight. And F&I, they have the power weapon, they have the heal, and now it's time for them to get some points off it.
All right. See what they can do now as Fire Nice, as you said, getting some points, but even so, you got to be focused on next, right? That's kind of the constant storyline, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to control. You know, you might lock in one hill, but are you going to be able to set up effectively for the next? Well, for Fearzly, he's going to get ambushed. He had no idea Acells was ready to Lancer him out, and he thinks he's making a move, a great rotation, but he gets baited out into the open and easily dropped. That was a great play from VQ to set up and really set up a trap to take him down. He'll be respawning back into play, and Xplodiz, I don't know if he connected on any of the torque bows, and even if he did, he didn't get the damage he was wanting and eventually loses his life. Something he's going to have to work on if he gets that torque bow in the future.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get the value that he wanted to, and his teammates will fall around him, but nice rotation from VQ. And as you called out earlier, just a few of those guys being in some sneaky positions on the right side of the mini-map as they were set up for his heal, able to catch out these F&I members. But in this moment, VQ have already identified 3 members in front of them. They're looking for that 4th, but they already have Xysho on the flank, hunting him down. They know that this is going to be a clean 3v3 fight. The kill, the damage is there. The kills aren't coming through. The chunk, the revive, another 3rd kill for Precision. Give him the 4-piece.
Give him the 4-piece, and VQ gets stronger, it seems, as the maps continue to go forward. And, you know, every time you get big eliminated like Precision is getting, it's just putting mentally in the back of Fire Nice's head, like, can we do this? Can we outslay VQ? And I know they're feeling the effects of it, but you can't really dwell on it too much. You just got to keep pushing forward. Xplodiz gets that fresh torque bow. Let's see if he's more successful this time than last Blaze.
Precision, even though he pushed there and he died and he kind of put Xysho in a little bad spot, it was a well-timed push because it actually gave him a better spawn when he needs to. It gave him a better spawn in that scenario, so it worked out for him. They were able to rotate down low, and knowing when to take some team fights off of scrap time when you have a big group of players in front of you, it can give you a better spawn for your squad.
All right, so Fire Nice making it a little bit more competitive. Xplodiz great shot onto Acells. Him staying alive naturally, helps his roster because this midline portion is very important on Reactor. It was important in Escalation. It's important in Control naturally because you have such a great line of sight across the map. Plus, it's a main transitional point to join your roster when need be. So Fire Nice starting to catch up. That sluggish start no longer really a big factor anymore. As VQ seems as if like, hey, we might have to fight a little bit more harder than we were doing before. Maybe this isn't going to be as easy as we thought.
Yeah, maybe it will not. So VQ, they know it's a dog fight against this F&I team, and this is what I was saying with F&I. They're back truly being up against the wall now. They have nothing to lose. They don't have a one-map cushion. They have to play perfect. With them feeling that pressure, this is where they play their best at, okay? So we're starting to see that throughout a few rotations. They're getting some kills. They're heating up. Oh, Dyslexic missed his back A. I know he wanted that one. He would have definitely picked up that kill, maybe even saved his teammate. Fearzly is going to have to disengage there in that moment. So VQ starting to slow down F&I off some of these rotations and get set up.
Oof, the Dyslexic and Fearzly both drop. Fearzly now torque bow out of at least contention for both rosters. Acells now is going to pick up that shot, throws it out. Xplodiz might get touched by that, but a great shot over the cover. Precision, can he get out with the torque bow? Just barely, but not for long. Dyslexic is pushing up, slowly closing that gap and takes him down. Now the question, did the torque bow get backpack? Yes, it did. So good job for Precision, at least a backpack and knowing he was going to be in trouble. But Fire and Ice flipped the script Blaze. They now have the point lead, but just barely.
Yeah, just barely. We'll see how long they can hold on to it. This torque bow hill, it's one of those scrappier hills. It's a 50-50. You're going to keep getting into engagements. But as I'm saying that, I even want to take that back, because when it comes down to the center line hills for Reactor, I'm seeing more team gathered points off of these hills than some of the corner hills for the map. So we'll see if that holds true as we keep casting Reactor more, because I know we're going to be seeing a lot more often than we have in the past. So far, VQ has gotten the lion's share of this hill. Now they're going to have to rotate on over. I do believe it's going to be in the bottom right of the mini map. You see those Fire and Ice players all set up. Player 6 and 5 going to have to try to get a rotation through the spawn. As far as power weapons go, don't know if that torque bow is going to be up anytime soon. It's actually going to be up right now, because somebody needs to spawn up and get it. Nades is going to be in 40.
Nades in 40, as you said, that obviously something you have to keep your head on a swivel for. You want to lock that in if you possibly can, especially with the hills being as closely contested as they are. Sal's putting Xplodiz on skates. Fearzly pretty soon to follow, you have to assume. But ultimately, he does get picked back up. But that's going to be a great hill cap for the boys of VQ. Dyslexic is there to chat, but you're by yourself. Wait for your team to get up there. I understand you're inching and chomping at the bit to be the hero, but you need to be working with your team to get these breaks, especially with VQ being so established defensively.
They really are. And the way that VQ takes team fights is very impressive. A lot of our squads at this high level, because you have to put out damage, but you can't put out damage in a way in which you block off your teammate's sight line, because you won't support if you can get it. You want to take an angle wide. You want to keep the fight as open as possible, as you're still putting out some good shots, just so that support fire can come through. We cannot forget, friendly fire is on at this level of gameplay. So when it comes to close quarter engagements, how the fights are initiated is something that's super important. It's a dance, and it's a dance that these squads do very, very well. And I saw a great example of that on VQ as they were retaking the hill that they currently have now.
So VQ obviously leading the charge. Just want to give you guys an update at home. So because of the time constraints, we have decided to allow E United and Rebel to go ahead and start their match. So they have been playing off stream. We will, I'm sure, have a chance to watch them once this series is done with. I assume VQ is most likely going to lock this up after this map with the way that they've been playing, with the way that it's going. But then again, I digress. Who knows? We've been seeing massive leads get blown, and this could be, in fact, one of them. Maybe we will be wrapping up very soon as Xplodiz will take down Dyslexic.
That's the best smoke grenade I've seen all season.
You know, that can happen. But again, guys, because of time constraints, it's going a little bit longer tonight. Out of respect for the players and the teams, we allowed E United and Rebel to go ahead and start their series. So it has been underway, I think, since the end of that Escalation match. But hey, I digress. Let's go ahead and hop back into VQ and Fire and Ice. Despite that team kill, looks like F&I has recovered quite well, but that torque bow not making their lives easy.
Yeah, it's not making their lives easy at all.
I guess the frags, excuse me.
A 3v1 for him in the corner here. They will be able to clean up this kill on Acells and Xysho. Didn't lose any members back here towards this corner. And it's 37 points left on this hill. They're going to keep fighting. Hndles and Precision are going to stay close to the hill, wait for their teammates to respawn. They finally got the entire unit with them, and Hndles initiating with his Lancer. I love the mark, putting out that damage. Toti gets cleaned up. And now, with the torque bow in the hands of Xplodiz, he connects. Now, can he get another one? Active is in the chamber. Not worried about his left. He's looking straight ahead. Dyslexic cleans up the kill. But will it be enough? Not enough.
Not enough. Not enough. It took a little bit.
Time is what was being fought for.
Yeah.
Player 6 and 5, they're rotating over here towards the bottom right of the mini map to get towards this corner now.
All right, so at this point, it's going to be a pretty uphill fight for Fire and Ice. VQ has been rotating, getting on those those next hills much earlier and more effectively. Oh, this nade has the potential to be absolutely devastating. One more to kind of throw out there. He's going to go in and chunk Dyslexic. Know where he's going to go. You have to assume he doesn't drop here, really, and he gets a kill alongside that of Toti. Man, that was just a lucky break for Dyslexic, who I assume was going to drop.
Yeah, I thought he was going to drop as well there, but he did not. Stayed on his feet. Iron Ice so far has been doing very, very well when it comes down to this frag hill at the bottom portion of the map. 46 seconds left on it. I do believe we should see another fight from VQ soon. This next hill may rotate towards the top left of the mini map at Powerhouse or top right at Control. We'll see here in just a second. But as far as these 30 points, with Fearzly going down, I do think Vanquish, yeah, they're in there. They're contesting the scrap time. They finally got into this engagement, but they were so spread out on the map that Acells had to go in there first to start the fight. Precision found a kill, but can Hndles end it?
Oh, Lancered from mid. Lancered from mid. And that is why you want to have somebody prioritizing that mid lane for some of these hills, because you can Lancer out and help. And in that situation, that gets Fire and Ice some very valuable points. Plays, they are starting to slowly catch up. And this is around the same point, right? On Regency, where Fire and Ice started to heat up.
Yeah, around the same point indeed, where they're feeling the stride towards the back end of the game, and VQ, they just cannot get into these hills. Fire and Ice gets tougher to put away in a late game. They should know this by now. That's a beautiful bow from Acells. Toti got caught. He goes down, but man, that's still a beautiful double bow, and he puts it on his back, so no one else is going to be able to get it, and he gives his team a 3v2 for a brief moment.
Brief moment. Fearzly takes down one. It would have been great if he can get that second. Not going to be so lucky. Either way, for Fire and Ice, though, they continue to lock in these points. This is a lot. They can take the lead over VQ for the first time in this map if they hold down this hill. But it's not going to be easy. Look at the presence from VQ at this point. You got a lot of FNI members looking to challenge, but this is going to be an epic team fight.
Yeah, it really is. You know, these players are contesting. They're moving up for precision, but he has a left hand. Lots of damage going out for VQ. It just comes down to them cleaning up the kills, and the L triggers are there, and they're not missing any shots there, Taylor. It's 30 seconds on this hill of time left. None of that is going to be scrapped. But for Fire and Ice, do they fight one more time? They know VQ cannot win off this, and I think they're making the best play of rotating early now to get set up. This hill is going to the bottom left hand of the mini map at Sunk, and we'll see what they can do with this. We'll see how they can get set up early.
You know, they're going to have to be flawless, speaking in terms of FNI. Like, there's no other way to get around it. You have to be flawless. But quite honestly, you know, tapering my expectations, the way VQ is, honestly, rotating, whether it be a duo or trios or a full squad, Fire and Ice has a lot of individuals, and unfortunately for FNI, it's kind of been a recurring theme since even the beginning, as we, you know, kind of even started here of Reactor, is one FNI member will come off the respawn and he immediately goes for the challenge, and he doesn't wait for his teammates, and then all of a sudden now it's a 3v4, and it's just a reoccurring theme. Fire and Ice is not wolfpacking. That's not, they're not doing it correctly. Toti, for example, by himself. VQ, what are they doing? 2v1. I mean, it's clinical. VQ is dominating this map because their teamwork has been on point.
It really has been. And throughout the entirety of the series, man, you can tell that they're communicating, they're playing with some intensity. And their setups on these hills have been so hard to break for Fire and Ice. And we see FNI just trying to get towards his back door, but the nades come through at the perfect timing. The help is there. The remaining two members go down, and with just 11 points needed, Vanquish get to sit here and take a victory breath as 5 more seconds needed on the board. You're gonna have Dyslexic leave the game because he know it ain't no hope for him.
Undefeated, no more. Fire and Ice suffers their first loss, but I guess the undefeated title now transfers over towards VQ. Very well done. And for you who just DM'd me saying thank you, Taylor, I am so mad that you just did that, especially on broadcast. Like, I am so mad that he just did that. I want to call him out so badly. He just literally DM'd me saying thank you, Taylor.
You don't got the good picks for him, man. Hey, great effort there for Vanquish, man. They came out and they took the series. And even going back to F&I, they won 10 maps in a row to kick off Pro League. I think that was really impressive.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, all right. I'll be lying if I said I wasn't mad. I'll be honest with you. I really do take my predictions kind of seriously. I'm tight. It is what it is. But I would also be lying if I didn't expect VQ to have a very good chance to win this. Like, bottom line, like, it is what I said coming into it's going to be a 50-50. And I
it was going to be close.
I knew going with Fire and Ice was going to be a risk plays. Like, to be honest with you, and I mean this, I genuinely felt VQ was most likely going to win this series. Why I went for Fire and Ice? I don't know. Because they normally are the swing team for me.
You wanted to, have the storyline.
Cool. It's not. No. Yeah. Storyline cool. What? I'm not trying to be cool. I'm not cool. But I just expected Fire and Ice to put up a better fight. But hey, VQ is on a different level. And let me say this: VQ, in all seriousness, I can't wait to watch them play against Rise in Pro League or play against the United, because I really do want to see where VQ stacks up in NA talent, because right now NA is dominating the scene.